3D Mermaid Cameo Acrylic Pendant or Nail Art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be making a necklace pendant that is a cameo, that's a mermaid with a light blue background, and it's really pretty, it's a lot of fun, and I also would like to mention that it is available in my online store, and there will be a link to that in the description box below, so check that out. I hope you like this design, and don't forget to click subscribe to see my future videos as well. So to begin with, I'm going to take my frame and I'm just going to be filling in with a layer of light blue acrylic. So I'm going to take and fill it up at the top, and then I'm going to fill it up in the bottom, trying not to cover up any of my frame, just go within it. Make that nice and smooth as possible. I know it's really hard to get acrylic to be perfectly smooth, but try your best. And then I'm going to add a layer of clear acrylic over the top of that. I had a piece of silver glitter in there that I got out. They're very sneaky little pieces of glitter. They like to get in where they don't belong. And I'm just going to bring that up to the edge of the frame. If you're doing this on a nail, you would do this in a set of overlays. So you do first the blue as an overlay on your nail, and then do a layer of clear to add strength. And now I'm going to be taking some gel, and I'm just going to place that on the nail, and I'm going to work it out and try to get it as smooth as possible. And I'm actually using Madame Glam's top coat, just their regular top coat, because it's extremely thick and it actually was working really well for me, and I don't currently have any builder gel in my possession, so I use that as an alternative. And then I cured it, and now I'm going to be sculpting out my mermaid. So I'm going to begin with her face right near the top of the nail, and it's going to be sort of a rounded off triangle, and I'm going to add little tiny indents for her eyes and a little bit of a increase of acrylic for her nose. And now I'm going to be working my way down her torso. So I'm going to add her neck and then her shoulder and collarbone area, work my way down towards her hips, and there I'm going to flare it out for her tail and curve her tail down and around. At this point, I'm not too worried about how thick my acrylic is. I know that I don't want it to be overly thick, but I'm not making too much of a 3D definition between, say, her tail and her torso. I will add that later. At this point, I'm just trying to get my shapes into place so that I know where they are and know where everything is getting. I'm going to add the end of her tail off to one side and just take the tip of my brush and create little grooves in it, just like that. That's going to make it really look thin and almost kind of lacy. And then I'm going to just fix up her tail a little bit because it seemed a little bit, I don't know, not quite right to me on that side. And now I'm going to be adding her arms. I'm going to add both her arms like they're stretched out to the sides, like she's just so calmly floating there and she doesn't have a care in the world. And then after I've got one arm in place, I'm going to try to mirror it as best as I can on the other side with her other arm. And when you're doing these little details like this, you want your acrylic to be on the wetter side of things. That's going to give you a lot better opportunities to pull it out and stretch it out to those nice smooth thin lines. If it was a stiffer bead or even a dry bead, it really wouldn't have the same smooth texture that it would if it has a little bit more monomer in it. I'm going to thicken up her breasts and then add a little bit more acrylic over the definition area between her tail and her tummy, just to make that nice and easy to see. And now I'm going to be adding her hair. So this is a very, very wet bead. I'm going to put that down and then let that set quite a bit, and then take the very tip of my brush and then just drag it through it to create the little hair texture. And then I'm going to do this in small sections. So after I've got that done, I'm going to add some more to the side. Once again, letting it set for just a second and then dragging the tip of my brush through it just to give it that flowing texture that I was going for. Adding little bits of more acrylic here and there just to fill in any gaps that need it. And then do the same thing for the other side. If you didn't want to use your brush for this, if your brush doesn't have the right kind of a point, you could also use like a safety pin or a stick pin or a needle or something to drag through these lines. If you do that though, I would recommend dipping it first into some powder just to make sure that the acrylic doesn't stick to it. And now I'm going to take some more little bits of acrylic here and there and add some details around her. I'm going to add two waves on the side where her tail isn't. That's going to make the nail look balanced, or I'm saying nail, but the pendant look balanced. And I would just, well, quickly I want to mention that I purchased these little pendant bases. I did not make them. When I was making this for a necklace, I knew that I wanted something that was really sturdy and having a metal frame is going to give it so much more structure than if I was to make something out of acrylic. Acrylic is very strong, don't get me wrong. Very strong, don't get me wrong, I'm rhyming. But having something that's metal, it's just going to be more durable. Just in case of, I don't know, dropping or throwing it against a wall or stepping on it. If it has that metal base, chances are none of those things are really going to do anything to it. And so now I just took small, teeny tiny beads of acrylic and add little dots all around her tail. That's going to make it look kind of like little bubbles. And just fill in any gaps. I'm going to be highlighting with white paint, and so I got a little bit of white paint on the very end of my brush, and then I dipped that into water and I mixed the two together on my thumb, just because that's convenient. And then I just first I'm going to go through and add rows of dots on her tail to make her look a little scaly. And just fill that in. And on her tail, for adding the scales, I did want, I rhymed again on her. I want it to be a little bit more pigmented of a white paint, but then as I'm going through and highlighting like her torso and her arms and stuff, the paint should be a little bit more diluted, and same thing for her face. And on the end of her tail and over the other parts. And then for her hair, I'm going to highlight it along the edge of the frame so that it sort of fades in towards her scalp. And then with a little brush, I also add a couple more details later on, but then I'm going to apply matte top coat over all the 3D stuff, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this design, and as I mentioned, you can check it out in the online store. There's a link below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!